And we are back live right here from Little Traverse Bay Parafest, Petoskey, Michigan. And right now, folks, it is showtime, and it is going to be exciting. This gentleman sitting right next to me right now, I've been trying to get him on for quite a while, so we are happy to have author, seer, remote viewer, past life reader, Mr. Rick Waid, everybody. Rick, welcome to the Paranormal Voice. And I'm so glad to finally. I've been following you for quite a while now.
Yes.
And your the stuff you do. Like, I watch all the stuff you put out there. It is absolutely amazing what you do. So for our fans that are out there, what is a seer?
Well, let me explain what a seer is, okay? So a seer, do I need to look here?
Right now.
Okay. A seer basically is different than a medium or a psychic, okay? A medium connects with the person, a past loved one, and they can actually see that past loved one, connect with that past loved one. I do not do that. A seer actually sees an actual energy of a past loved one in their life when they were alive. That's how I connect with my following. I will see their past loved ones when they were alive. So I'll know things about them, feel things about them. I'll connect with their energy. I'll connect with their sick. I'll connect with certain things that they like, certain things they dislike. That's what I do. That's why I call myself a seer. I can see their lives when they were alive, not when they passed. When they were alive. That's why I call myself a seer.
That is a quaint analogy, because I mean, in a field, a paranormal field, I mean, we have our psychics, we have our mediums, but just the term seer is where did the term come from?
Well, it's from the Bible. So seer, God sent Jesus to a seer. In some parts of the Bible, you'll see where God sent Jesus to a seer, so he could see for Jesus. That's where it comes from the Bible.
Wow, so very. So we have Nadine watching us. Hey, Nadine, thank you for showing up.
Nadine, what's up? How you doing?
Shane, welcome to the show.
What's up, Shane?
So yeah, I mean, that is such an interesting take, other than what you normally hear in the paranormal field. So with your gifts, I mean, so when you go into a location, how does that gift translate into what you're investigating?
Well, basically, what I do when I do an investigation, I'm going to start something new this year. I'm going to do a walkthrough before I even start. I'll do a walkthrough. I'm going to connect with the whole building, see what I hear, see, and feel. Usually what happens to me, when I go in a location, I can actually hear voices in real time. So I always bring an audio recorder just to prove what I'm hearing. See, I hear a different frequency because back in the days, I got Bell palsy. And Bell palsy, I put peroxide in my ear, and I would leave it in my ear for a period of time because I had an earache. Well, it was eating my ear inside away. So I had to go to a doctor, and they put me on some hormone pills to actually build my hearing up. So what ended up happening is I got like a super hearing in my left ear. So in my right ear, I'm hearing at 35. My left ear, I'm hearing at a 12-year-old's hearing. And I would test this. I would actually go in and test it on a computer program. I would actually do a sound that a 12-year-old would hear. I could hear it. In my right ear, I could not because I was too old for it. So I'm hearing a different frequency in my left ear. So when I go to haunted locations, I hear a different frequency. I hear that young age that most people do not hear it. And then I explained to them, okay, that's what was just said. And I proved this too. It was just said, okay, let's say, for instance, you said, I was killed, okay? Nobody can hear that. All they hear is static.
Right.
Until I explained to them, did you just hear that? And they said, no, I didn't hear that. I said, I just heard I was killed. Right. And they're like, no way, no way. Then I'll play the recorder back for them to actually hear that. And there it is. And it's shocking because they didn't hear it. Right. I heard it all the time. So it's amazing.
And so your gifts came to you later in life. They weren't something like most when you talk to mediums and stuff like that. Like they knew at a very young age that they had this gift.
Right.
Now you yourself didn't. You knew you had the gift, but I guess you really didn't clue it until later on in life, or was it an incident that happened to you that say, "Wow, this gift"?
I'll explain that to you. Very simple. I started watching the Waid-Seer show, and I went on my first experience at this house at the end of the road. It's in my first book. I talk about it. I have a video on YouTube and I have a video on Facebook about the actual door opening on command. So I was actually horsing around with my son, and what happened was I ended up going around the house and I seen the door was open. And I said, if there's any spirits, just like the ghost hunters, if there's any spirits, close that door. It closed right on command. I was shocked. I'm like, holy crap. So I went home and I got a video camera. I went back with my son-in-law and I said, if there's any spirits here, I walked toward the house with the night vision on because I didn't know anything about cameras. I walked back and I said, if there's any spirits here, open the door. And it opens. Really freaky sound. It was amazing. And I was freaked out. I'm like, this is my new path. That opened up something in me. But the thing is, I've been connecting with spirits my whole life and I didn't know or understand it.
Right.
And the reason why, I would have nightmares all the time, and I would see things outside of my window, or I would see things in the house. Things would turn in from a picture, turn into a different person that I didn't know. These are actually past loved ones or actual spirits and ghosts were connected with me all the time, and I didn't know it. So I would have nightmares. I would walk in my sleep with nightmares and everything like that. So I would talk and walk, and I would do crazy stuff. My mom would actually, at one time, I talk in my third book, where my mom took a Bible and hit me in the head because she thought there was a demon in me. So the thing is about it, what's interesting is those spirits were saying, listen, Rick, wake up, man.
Yeah.
You can communicate with us. But I didn't know until I actually started the paranormal and something clicked.
Wow. So Nadine makes a comment. You're a walking EVP detector. That's pretty cool.
Thank you very much. Yes, matter of fact, when I first started my journey, I was getting probably 30 EVPs a minute. That's crazy. 30 EVPs a minute. They were coming to me left and right, left and right, until I actually found my true gift of seeing. The EVPs went from 30 down to 5, down to 1. So I was getting just direct connect information from the spirits, which is actually better. And instead of having 5 or 10 or 20 just throwing random stuff at me, now I'm getting like, say, if I said, well, how old are you? They come to me and say 19. So, way better, right?
I mean, to have that gift, I mean, to hear it in real time, and then to have your recorder to back it up.
It's amazing.
It's. I mean, there's no denying that what you're hearing and then what you're going back to play later on is absolutely phenomenal.
It is.
I mean, that is not a truly normal gift. I mean, I know when we're in locations as a paranormal investigator myself, like I'll think I'll hear something, then I'll go back and listen to it, and hopefully I'll catch it, but I can never hear it clear enough until I get it, run it through the program, clean it up a little bit, get rid of the background noise.
Right.
You're hearing it like boom,
Boom.
like that.
Right like that. And it's interesting. And I've worked on many missing person cases, and I will hear spirits say things to me. I worked on a missing case, a young lady down in Louisiana. She was actually, they ended up finding her killer and stuff. But the thing was, I worked on this with a big psychic network. And I would hear the song, I'm Wide Awake, by Katy Perry. So I kept hearing the song, I'm Wide Awake. I didn't know what it was, but I was putting that down in my visions, coming from what I was feeling from the spirit. So later on, they ended up finding the killer, and he ended up taking her where the body was. And I actually gave a description where the body was. I told there were 3 crosses, and it's going to be right to the graveyard. And they took a picture when they found her, 3 crosses to the right to the graveyard. It was really kind of cool. I didn't know where it was, but I still connected on the line. You know what I mean? So, but the thing is, the guy ended up stabbing her. He ended up stabbing her. He thought she was dead. She was bent over, hooked her down, and then all of a sudden, she woke back up.
Yeah.
There's that song, I'm Wide Awake. You know what I mean? So you see how it makes sense?
Yeah.
So that's how it is. I hear audio, I see things, and I feel things.
Wow.
I thought they were still good, but they're not.
So, wow, and beyond all that, now you do remote viewing.
Yeah, I can do remote viewing too.
Now, do you do it prior to cases, or is it something like somebody comes to you and something and says, "Hey, I want to know what's going on there," and you'll
People, I've worked with paranormal teams, and what they'll do is they'll send me a picture of a house. Then I will remote view the inside of the house. And basically what it is, I just hear, see, and feel things. And they'll send me the information. When I give them the information, they're like, "Oh my goodness, dude, it's almost like you're here, right here with us, being partaking in the actual the ghost hunt with us." That's exactly what. And I see things, I've had where I've seen paranormal guys and paranormal females fall down the steps, and they would go out and boom, they fall right down the steps. That's remote viewing, seeing things before it happens, and that happens in some of my readings. I will see the future, 6 months or a year down the road.
So for our viewers that are, I know we've talked about it, but could you just give our viewers a little bit of information, like remote viewing, like what is it? How do you do it? I know it started like the military was using remote viewing way back in the war times to seek out their.
Do you know how they did that? Let me explain to you how they did that. What they would do, they would take like 10 individuals that felt they had a gift. They would take those individuals, and each of them they would give something to the individual. Okay, we're looking for this person. Let's say, I don't know, Todd or something. So they would give that guy's name, and they would concentrate. Each individual would concentrate at a desk, and they would write down what they see, hear, and feel. And then the military would take that information. They'll take the 10 people, and then they'd match up what made sense, that what connected to each individual. So if 7 things connected the same, each individual, then they would use that information, and they would actually go and find people off that information.
Wow. See, so when you're remote viewing, do you have to be in a meditative state, or is it just something you sit at your desk, you've got the photo, and boom, off you go?
That's how it is. When I do readings, I'm unique when I do readings because I connect with the first name of a past loved one. That's how I connect, okay? You say Jan, okay? Jan. How many millions of Jans out there? Millions of them, right? But I'll connect with that one person. Because when I first started doing this, I was remote viewing. I didn't even know what I was doing until somebody told me, "Hey, listen, this is what you're doing." What I was doing was actually concentrating on the person's energy, and I would see things in their house. For instance, let's say they had a cast on their right foot. I would actually say, "Okay, I'm seeing somebody. I see like you have a cast on your right foot." I don't know the person.
Right.
They would send a picture back with the cast on their right foot. Crazy, huh? Then I would say, "Man, I smell barbecue chips." How weird. She's holding a bag of barbecue chips. She's eating barbecue chips. That's remote viewing, seeing things in another place or time that you should not be seeing, okay? And I'm actually not only seeing, I'm smelling too.
Wow.
Which is really interesting.
That is. I mean, I've talked to a few remote viewers, just going in and remote viewing a location, but you're actually picking up smells.
Yes.
Which is, that's got to be like very next level remote viewing.
It's a higher level. I think, we all have different levels. The mediums, the psychics, the seers, we all have different levels. I think there's super psychics out there that are actually way stronger than me. They can do way more. They can find those missing persons. Very rare, but they can find. They're on a different level. Okay? I'm on a certain level. I'm usually on 3. Some people are on 2. Some people are on 4. And that's whenever those are the people that actually can do more with the gift. And we're all different, we're all different. But what I like about me, I have different kind of abilities. Like I connect with past lives. I can actually see somebody's past life, offer that information to them, and they will connect with their current life, their fears. Let's say in their past life they drowned. In this current life, they won't ever go near water because they're scared of drowning. So that's what I pick up.
So yeah, now talking about past life reader, I mean, that is pretty amazing to be able to go back and realize, because people believe in reincarnation.
Correct.
Like when we leave this life, it's not like our soul just dissipates into the air. I truly believe that we go on and we'll be put into another body somewhere down the road when it's our time to come back.
Correct.
And so to be able to see what another person has been through in a past life,
it's pretty amazing.
I mean, that's got to be, it's got to be absolutely amazing. I mean, how many people would love to, like, did they ask you a question? Like, am I royalty?
No. I don't, when I do any readings, nobody asks me any questions. never on anything. Just give me their first name, and that's all I need. Even when I do their past life, same thing. I did a past life reading on a lady one time on one of the websites before Facebook and before Instagram and all that stuff. And I did a reading on this lady, and she wanted me to connect with her past life. So I connect with her. I said, I'm getting really, it's like I'm going back into Western days. You know what I mean?
Right.
I get the date. I get a date of her birth. I get a date of her death. I keep getting the name Annie Oakley. I know, wow, Annie Oakley, right? Crazy, right? I said, I see you're wonderful with a gun. You're like, amazing shooting a gun. And I said, I feel you've been obsessed with Annie Oakley ever since you've known about her.
Right.
So she sends back a video. She videotapes her house. Also, I said, I see a big portrait, 4x6 of Annie Oakley in your living room. She sends back the picture of the portrait of Annie Oakley. And she's an excellent gunslinger. She's been obsessed with Annie Oakley her whole life. This made perfect sense to her because this has been her whole life. For me to actually say that, how amazing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, to pick up on that and to be, I guess it would be amazing to know that you are the soul or the energy, however you want to look at it, of somebody that is well known.
Right.
Annie Oakley.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
But I guess I would say why some people are obsessed with other people. Nadine here says, I would love to try that. Maybe it would tell me why I'm afraid of heights.
There you go. And usually, whenever I do these past lives, there's something. These past lives are not positive. They're usually negative because there's always just a death, or it always deals with torture. I've read so many people. I read another person, which is interesting. I'll tell you the story. This gentleman wanted me to read him too, and he said, "Listen, just go ahead. My name is John. Go ahead and read." So I connect with him. I said, I keep getting his name, Steve Duncan. Just throwing out a name here, Steve Duncan. I said, I see that you actually were a pilot and you went missing in action. And I came up with his name, the Street Fire or something, as the name of a plane. So I gave him the information. He did some research. Now he's been having nightmares all the time about crashing in a plane, and going down. So I gave him this information. He found that guy. I actually said, without the name, plane and everything. And he found a picture of him, and he put his picture next to it and put it on the post. Identical twins. How shocking.
Yeah, see, that would be another question in my mind. Like, when you go from one past life to another past life, now, do we keep the same type of images, or do we, we're a man in this lifetime, but next lifetime, is it possible for us to be a woman? Have you ever come across?
Oh, yes, 100%. Sometimes I will connect with a female and she was a male in the past life, or a male, she was a female in the past life. And that's just how it works. I think we can get multiple past lives, and we'll pick parts of each past life. And sometimes I'll pick different parts of the past life will be given to me. But yeah, even the things that happen to them. Let's say, for instance, I was doing another reading for a lady, and she wanted me to read her. I've never read a past life. This is my first reading I did. And I told her, I said, okay, I'll give it a go. I'm having fun on this page. I'm doing great, enjoying everything. I had hundreds of people waiting for readings, right? Just having fun, right? Wasn't charging anybody. It was just all fun. I'm learning. So all of a sudden I was going on there, and then I just kept feeling this pain in her neck. I seen her back in the days of a wagon. She was on a wagon. She was being chased by Indians, and she fell off the wagon and broke her neck. Okay, so I told her, I said, I feel a pain in my neck. I feel you broke your neck in your past life. Well, she went to 10 doctors. 10 doctors that paid a lot of money. They could not figure out why she was having the neck pain and the headaches. Couldn't figure it out. So after I gave this information, it's really crazy. She stopped having the headaches and stopped having the pain in her neck. She realized what really happened, and she was carrying that pain from all those years from her past life, and she let it go, and it stopped happening. So it's kind of a healing process too.
Yeah. So coming through stuff even what I've been going through in my past life, and I've been learning a lot about Akashic records and all this stuff, and how we carried this stuff with us for centuries. Something we could have did 10 lives ago.
Mm-hmm.
We still hold that going into today, and this is why letting that stuff go, changing and moving forward, you're going to create a much better life moving forward for your next life.
And another thing, you got to be very careful. And this is why I don't do a lot of past life readings, because it's a scary situation too. And I'll tell you why. I saw this one lady, and I seen her in her past life. And she was in England. She was a wife. She lost her husband and family, and she cut her wrist and took her life. Okay. So this is what I saw for this young lady. Well, this young lady was unstable, and a week later, she cut her wrist and tried to take her life. So, and it's very dangerous because if they're not stable, and you don't know if they're stable or not. I mean, I'm not a super psychic, right? You know, I don't know.
Right.
Sometimes I'll just get things, see things, but she was not able to handle it, and she went to the hospital and almost took her life. So it's very scary, and that would come back on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I mean you're just helping somebody who's obviously seeking your help.
Right.
It's never done with any intention, but to help somebody understand stuff that they've gone through, and to understand like why this has been such a weight on them. So that's all quite very interesting. So getting back into the paranormal stuff. So tell me your scariest paranormal experience.
Well, honestly, when I first started, I got scared all the time, to be honest with you. Everything scared me, but there was always weird things happening to me. So I would have a door slam on me, or I'd actually have it sound like a tree would fall outside and slam down on the ground. That loud of an actual experience, but there was never nothing out there. So I was jumpy all the time. Growing up, my mom scared me to death all the time, so I'm a jumpy person.
Okay.
So I just got scared to death upstairs, you know? He just scared the crap out of me. So the thing is about it, though, you know, that's just how I am. I'm just a jumpy person. But the most scary thing, I think, is whenever I heard an actual two spirits talking, okay? I heard one spirit saying, he's coming with me. One spirit saying, he's coming with me. And then I heard another spirit say, Rick is a demon. Rick is a demon. Rick is a demon. Said it 3 times.
Wow.
So I had these 3 voices talking to me. One wanted me to come on their side. I think it was a spiritual positive. One was a negative. And then one was saying that he was a demon, trying to persuade this other energy to actually let me come on that side. That was kind of scary. And also, I've been touched. I've actually had him come up and actually touch my legs, touch my arms, and I'm stiff as a board when it happens. In my first book, I talk about being out in a camper, and I was recording my mother-in-law's house. And then I went out there, and then the spirit said, go kill them. Said it 7 times, go kill them, go kill them, go kill them. And I turned the recorder off.
Yeah.
I went down, I got in my bed, and then something jumped on me and walked up me like a cat or something. And there's a lot of cats that died on the property. So I went upstairs, got in the bed, and all of a sudden the bed started shaking for 2 hours. That scared the crap out of me. It's like something was following me, something wanted me to hurt people in there. And if you're a person that's having some mental issues, and then all of a sudden you're getting these voices that are saying this, I think people act on that if they're not strong enough.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I mean, that was another question I was going to, have you ever had an attachment come home with you after an investigation? Or do you sense these things before you even leave a location?
When I first started my journey, I was not into protection. I didn't know anything about protection. So a lot of times I would have children follow me. A lot of times children would follow me. So I would be in my house with my wife, we'd be watching TV, and you hear a kid run down the hallway. There's no kids there. But they would run down the hallway. You hear the cabinets opening and closing.
Right.
So energy will follow you. Energy, it will like you. It will actually jump on you like a backpacker. And it will still stay with you. And, you know, as long as you're giving it what it wants, it'll stay with you until it finds something else. Then it will go to that, you know, that person or something. So I went to a point where I was worried. So I put a cross and said a prayer above every door in my house and every window. And that spirit stopped coming to my house.
Wow.
Kind of cool, huh? It really worked. It really worked. I'm like, holy crap. I said a prayer, made a cross with some oil, and it worked. I was blown away.
Wow. I mean, you know, that's pretty cool that you do nothing, but you tried something and it works.
Yes.
But, you know, so that shows you the power of believing in something works.
100%. 100%.
So we're going to talk about your book. So I'm going to bring in, I believe this is your first book. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Second book.
That's your second book?
Yep.
So let's go to this one.
First book.
First book. Here we go. So this book, it's titled My Paranormal Journey, One Man's Obsession. So when did you write this book? And obviously, it's all about your personal journey into becoming the amazing person you are today.
Yes, sir. Well, let me explain something to you. I was obsessed with ghost hunting to the point where I was going out at 11, staying out to 5, getting up for work at 6. My wife was worried about me, scared I was going to crash or hurt somebody or kill somebody because I do a lot of driving, 200 miles a day. So she begged me, she said, please write a book.
Right.
You like this stuff? Write about it.
Right.
So that's when I started writing this book. And I wrote about every experience I had in this book. And there's some amazing experiences in this book. I'll give you one instance. Amazing experience. I was actually going, and I would do recordings, and I would record at tombstones or I record at crosses on the side of the road. So one cross I was drawn to because I'd never seen it before, and I went over there and it said 98, bin 98. That's all I had on it was bin 98. So I don't know who bin 98 was, but it was a cross of bin 98. So I went there and I started doing some recording, and I heard something on the recorder like somebody got in my car. It was really weird. So I ended up going, and I was going to drive down the road about 5 miles away, and then one of my employees said, hey, can you help me find this place on the map? Back then before we had GPS. So I went on the map and I started looking. I pulled in to this graveyard 5 miles away, and I'm telling him directions, and I look up, and what do I see? bin 98 right in front of me. His actual tombstone, I actually was taken right to his tombstone. This is one of the stories that's in this book. And there's many, many more stories. I've had some amazing things happen to me that people will never believe, but it really happened. And I have proof because I have the videos, I have the audios. So it's really amazing. But that started my journey. And the thing is about the paranormal obsession, it got to a point where I almost lost my job. I almost lost my family. I was recording in people's homes, which I shouldn't have been, in some of my customers' homes, because they wanted me to. And they would actually turn me back into my company and almost get me fired and get a discount because I was, in their house doing that, putting them in fear and stuff. But I'm telling you, the obsession was so bad that, like I said, I had a recorder on me 24/7. 24/7, I had a recorder. And I would keep that recorder on me, and I would hear, like I said, I have thousands and thousands and thousands of voices from the past. But my obsession got to a point where it almost got to a point where I had no luck. I was having issues. I got pulled over 12 times to 15 times in 1 year by the police. And it got to a point where something had to change. I was connecting with a lot of negative energy.
Right.
And that's what was creating this for me until my next gift. And my second book is about my next gift. But it went from this book where I was getting all these EVPs to I ended up going on to an actual location. I lied to my wife, lied to her a lot. Shame on me, right? But I lied to her because I was obsessed. So I went to an actual old schoolhouse with 3 foot of snow. And I came back and I looked at my vehicle and it was parked sideways like an angle. And I couldn't get out. So a gentleman came around and he said, listen, I can get you out. Hook these chains up. So I did that. And all of a sudden, he couldn't get me out. He said, give it gas, man. Give it gas. I gave it gas. Couldn't move, right? So all of a sudden, I was packing this stuff up. Another car comes around. I'm on the phone with the tow truck. He said, I can get it out. I said, sir, I have it. The guy was just here. He didn't give me. This time, I'll tell you what. This time, don't give it gas. First of all, how do you know that? Right. How do you know don't give it gas?
Right.
Interesting, right? So I hooked it up, didn't give it gas. He pulled me out like nothing. As I'm bringing the change back, he hands me a brochure about God. And he says, stop doing what you're doing. Wow. From that point on, my journey changed from doing the paranormal to actually weaning off the recorder. And how I wean off the recorder is every time I thought about the actual EVPs to go out and do ghost hunting, I saw a green Bible. For 30 days, I would see a green Bible every day to get me weaned off that, put me back into what God was trying to tell me to do.
Right.
And then from that point on, the recorder was no good because I wasn't hearing anything. So I took the recorder and I started thinking, well, what can I do now? I started seeing things in the future. I said, well, I'm going to look at my next job. And I seen a kitty corner bed with red covers and a white sheet flipped back. I went to that house and there it was, right in front of my eyes. And I recorded that 2 hours beforehand. Wow. That was my remote viewing. I didn't know what I was doing. So that's what was happening to me. Then all of a sudden, I would do this on all of my jobs. I got to a point where I was doing 70%, 80%. Then I went on Unexplained Mysteries, a paranormal group on a forum on the internet before Facebook. And I would say, hey, let me see what's around you. Because I was able to see things. And that's how my journey started in my second book. How I started learning how to do remote viewing. How I learned how to actually, and you can put that one up too. How I learned how to actually connect with past loved ones. How I learned to do past lives. How I learned to work with paranormal teams. All that's in the second book. Going to my first convention and stuff like that. It was just amazing experience. I had something going on me. It was unique, but I couldn't get the world to see it because I didn't have a big following or anything. So I would do it all the time as much as I could. And I would post as much as I could. But that's all my second book's about me meeting a lot of paranormal celebrities, getting out in the world, getting my hands, hands dirty, going on some investigations and using my gifts. So that's what the second was. And then I started working on missing person cases and helping the police departments. That's what the second book's all about. Working at some weird experiences where I messed with some people that actually were into voodoo. I messed with some people that actually knew how to actually cause issues in your life from way overseas. So that's in my second book too. Amazing experience that happened to me in the second book too.
So you said you've worked on missing persons cases with police.
Yes.
Now, we've always heard, in the media talk about police using mediums and psychics to help them with their cases.
Right.
How did how did that begin? You working with the police force? Like, did you just show up inside the office one day and say,
No.
"Hey, this is what I do. I can help you. Trust me on this"?
No, this is how it worked. I actually was still doing my audio recording, and I went to a graveyard where the young girl was murdered, and I just went out there and I did a recording, and I got this name that came on and said, "This person killed me." I heard it clear as day. So I called the police department and said, "Listen, I have something interesting on audio. I'm a ghost hunter. I do this stuff. I have something interesting. I'd like to bring it down to you." Talk to the sheriff. I went down there. I was nervous. I went down there because, I'm a weirdo, right? Recording in graveyards. So I went down there, and he couldn't hear it because he's an older guy. He's been shooting guns, and his hearing was bad. He brought in one of his deputies, a female. She came in, and I'll be honest with you, female hear different than men. They do hear different.
Yeah.
So they hear a different frequency. So that's what happened. The female heard everything I said. So he said, "Listen, go take him wherever you can to see if he can do something."
Right.
They took me to every place where she actually was found, where she lived, where she hung out, neighbors she hung out. They took me to all these places, and I collected as many EVPs as I could, and I got 101 EVPs. I sent it back to him. The actual name I got in the actual recording, I wrote in my first book, he was arrested. That gentleman was arrested with that name. He knew, the actual sheriff, that his deputy had that name.
Wow.
So he actually got arrested because he could not tell where he was during the actual murder of the young girl. But they come to find out he wasn't a murderer.
Right.
But it was almost like I was hearing, this guy's going to get arrested with that name and going to be like the lead suspect.
Right.
But he ended up getting 5 years later. He got it all went away, but his life was ruined. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's how it works. You don't know if what you're getting exactly is a direct connect information that's really going to help somebody or hurt somebody's life that you don't even know. You know what I mean?
Well,
So it's very dangerous.
yeah, but very true because how many John Smiths live in the world, right?
Right.
So even in this one town, and I've had experiences with this. Like, I live in a city of 200,000 people, and there is somebody that lives in the same city as me, same name as me, but is an extreme troublemaker. And when I went to first work as a security guard in the courthouse, they said, "No, I can't get a job there because I had a criminal record." I was like, "I've never broken the law in my life." I said, "I've always been." They're like, "Well, you are," and they said, and I'm like, "Yeah." So it all came down to our birth dates. That was how they told me, got me apart from. So yeah, this person could ruin my life.
Exactly.
And got me in trouble because he's a troublemaker, but because we have the same name or share the same name. So I imagine that happens quite often in a lot of cases or investigations that, a name comes up, but what if somebody has the exact same name?
Mm-hmm.
John Smith murdered somebody. Well, he leaves town. John Smith that still lives there is the one who's going to get in trouble.
And that's exactly what it is. And it's scary to give those kind of names and stuff. So that's why I stopped working on missing person cases unless I work with the family or the police department. I won't do it for friends that want, "Hey, can you connect with this?" I won't do that anymore because I don't want to get somebody in trouble because I don't know for a fact that this is the right killer. They might have just been around the area. They might have known the person. And that's the difference. You got to be careful, very careful on that. And then my second book, I talk about, I was on a radio show. I had my own radio show called Let's see, I can't remember what the name was. Through the Eyes of the Seer. But I have my own radio show, and I would reach people all over the place, and I do readings and stuff. But in this actual radio show, I would remote view locations. I would have people go to locations in other states, and they would have a big party. They'd invite friends and stuff, and I would actually read the building and read the people in there from my basement. I remote view everything, and it was so amazing. It just would blow your mind.
So now we're going to get into your latest book, The 11th Child.
Right.
So the title alone is very interesting because obviously, unless you come from a big family, which we'll find out in a minute, how did you come up with the title of this book?
I'm the 11th child.
You're the 11th child. Wow, so you do have a lot of siblings.
Well,
I mean, that's...
What's interesting is my mom has 11 kids. My dad has 11 kids. When they got together, I am 21.
Wow.
Number 21. So I have 10 brothers and sisters on each side.
Wow.
I mean, 10 brothers and sisters, yeah. Total on my dad's side, 10 brothers and sisters on my mom's side. So, but I'm the baby on my mom's side, and I'm the third youngest on my dad's side.
So that's quite amazing because you really don't hear too many families having such a big family. I mean, that's like stories of like early 1900s of
right.
You know, people having big families back then.
Correct.
But in this day and age, I mean, it's like wow.
And the book, my third book, is interesting because we lived in a lot of places. My mom was very poor. She had a bad heart condition. So she only got SSI and got food stamps. So when we could not pay the rent at a house, if we got backed up, we'd have to move to another house. And that's what the third book's about. Each house I lived in, paranormal experiences we experienced. And my mom was a medium. So she could actually read coffee cups. She could actually see things in the actual coffee grounds in the water. She would turn it. She'd say a prayer, and she'd look up and she'd see the valleys, the darkness, the lightness. And she could tell your fortune just like I actually can see things. But that's how it was, see? But when we go to other locations, we'd have to move because we didn't have any money. So that's how, in this book, I take you from my youngest memory to my next memory, to my next memory. This is all about my memories, what I remember growing up as a kid. And it's pretty fascinating, pretty interesting, because I was bullied. I was treated bad growing up, almost every school, because I went from school to school to school, and I was always a new kid. So I was always teased, picked on, and treated bad.
Wow, absolutely amazing. So, Rick, where can people get these books? I know they can get them wherever they can see you, but if somebody's watching right now or watching this a little bit later on, go, I want to read more about this. Where are they?
You can get them on Amazon and Kindle. That's where I do all my books. Amazon and Kindle. You can buy it through Amazon and Kindle, or you can buy them through me at events. And I will be at other events. I usually do paranormal ghost hunts and readings. And then I have Mid-Michigan Paracon I'll be at October 4th and October 5th. So I'll be there. And I have a couple haunted places I'm going to be booking here pretty soon. But other than that, that's, and I do library events too. So if you're interested in a library event, you have a library that wants me to come, I'll come there, I'll tell my story, and then I'll read people. It's an amazing experience. People walk away believers, guaranteed.
Absolutely. I mean, everything that I've learned about you, not only today, but just watching you on other shows, and just, I know you'll jump online every once in a while. You just start doing readings from your Facebook page. Mm-hmm. So where else is it? So where can anybody connect with you who wants to, say, have a question, or maybe you can help them out? Where's the best place to get a hold of you?
Just send me a message on Facebook, on Messenger. You can send me a message there. I do have an email too. This is rwaid46@gmail.com. You can contact me that way too. I do have a reading show Sunday night, 7 p.m. on Facebook. So you can see what I do. So I'll be offering some readings on Sunday.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Rick, all I can say is thank you so much for taking your time.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Out of your busy schedule. And I mean, I know we only got here today. Today was like day one. Tomorrow is going to be
really busy.
Off the chain. I'm going to watch you do your stuff because I can imagine you're going to be just filled with people having questions. Yeah. So once again, folks, this is Mr. Rick Waid-Seer remote viewer, past life reader, I'll tell you, read his books. You will not be disappointed, and you'll learn so much more about just probably how amazing this guy really is. Like I said, I've been following for quite a while. It's been a great pleasure to finally get you on the show.
Well, thank
we
you,
look
sir.
forward to seeing more from you down the road, and I'm sure we'll cross each other's paths at other events
Yes, sir.
here forth. So, like I like to say, thank you for everybody who tuned in tonight. I hope you got just as much education out of this as I did. Like I said, check this gentleman out, and if you have a chance to meet him, I highly suggest it. So, from the Paranormal Voice, Michael, John, and myself, we want to thank you for coming out. In the meantime, and in between time, like we like to tell everybody, happy hauntings.